Good morning, boys and girls. So today what we're going to do is continue working on the partial sum strategy, but what I'm going to do is organize it in a different way that will hopefully help you understand what exactly partial sums are. So we talked about it in our last video, what partial sums are and what partial means. So when you think of something that is partial, it means that it is part. If you broke up the word partial, partial is spelled P-A-R-T-I-A-L, okay? Well, the first four letters of partial is part, all right? So keep that in mind whenever you're working with this. When we think of, or when we talk about partial sums, we're talking about part of a sum, okay? And just like in the last video, what we did was we found the sum of the ones place, and then we would find the sum of the tens place, and then we would find the sum of the hundreds place. So each one of those are considered part of the sum or partial sums, okay? They're just part of the final sum, right? Because when we add our hundreds, we add our tens, and we add our ones, we find the total, the final sum, correct? So when we're doing partial sums, that's just going to be part of the sum. When you find the total of the hundreds place, that is part of the sum. When you find the total of the tens place, that is just a little part of the final sum. And the same thing with your ones place, okay? So what we're going to do, I'm going to work through two different problems with you today. Usually I only do one, but today I want to do two different partial sum problems with you, just so you can get the feel for the new way of organizing your partial sums, okay? So what I'm going to do is go ahead and turn you around so that you can see our first problem. If you want to work through it with me, you can. That's awesome if you want to. If you want to just watch me, that's fine too. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at our first problem. Let me get you turned around. Let's see. I'm in my craft room today, guys, so I'm trying to figure out how I can work through this. Okay, so the first equation we're going to work, that we're going to work with is 266 plus 597. So, last week we worked with picture models. This week we're just going to use your basic algorithm where we stack it on top of each other, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and draw my place value chart. Oops. I'm trying to draw it big so you guys can see it really well. So this is our hundreds. This is our tens. And this is our ones. Okay, so let's go ahead and write our two add-ins in the chart. So we have 200 66. Okay, that's our first add-in. And then we're going to go ahead and add 597 right underneath it. So 597. All right? And we're going to add these together. That is our operation, is addition. We're going to add these together. So, you guys know I always want to start in the ones place, but with partial sums, it really doesn't matter. Okay? So, let's go ahead. I'm going to show you how I'm going to organize this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an H for hundreds. So I'm going to write my total sum of the hundreds right here. Okay? And then I'm going to write the total sum of my tens right underneath it. And then I'm going to write the total sum of my ones place underneath that. All right, so that's my new way of organizing it, just to help you see that each place in the number, each place value of the number is going to be a partial sum of our final sum. Okay, so when we add our hundreds together, we have 200 plus what? 500. So we have 200 plus 500, which gives us 700. Right. Good job. So 700, I'm going to write that beside my H, okay, because that's the total sum of the hundreds place. Okay, we got the hundreds place taken care of. Now let's look at our tens place. 6 plus 9. What is 6 plus 9? Okay, we have 9 plus 1 more would give us 10. 1 taken from the 6 leaves us with 5, so that's going to give us a total of 15. Okay, 9 plus 6 is 15, but if you have 15 tens, what would that be? 15 tens. Okay, let's look at that. Let's break it down real quick. 15 tens, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we know that's going to give us a what? 10 groups of 10 is 100. Okay? So we have 100, but 9 plus 6 is 15, right? We only have 10 down here, so let's go ahead and add our next 5. So 15. So we've already made a group of 10, which gave us 100. We have 5 left over. 5 tens equals what? 50. So the total value of 6 plus 9, or 60 plus 90, is 150. So that's the total sum of our tens place. Okay, 150. Okay, all right, let's look at our ones place. 6 plus 7 gives us what? Well, if it was 7 plus 7, it would be 14, right? But 6 is 1 less, so 14, 1 less is 13. So our ones place has a total value of 13. So each of these is a partial sum. 700 is a partial sum. 150 is a partial sum. And 13 is a partial sum, because each of these are parts of the final sum. So to find the final sum, what do we have to do? We have to go ahead and add these numbers together. So 700 plus 150, plus 13. Trying to get this out of the way. Okay. All right, so when we add those up, let's just look over here. We have 700 plus 150 plus 13, right? 0 plus 0 plus 3. 3, good. 0 plus 5 plus 1. 6, very good. And finally, 7 plus 1, 8. So the final sum is 863. 700 was a partial sum, 150 was a partial sum, and 13 was a partial sum of our final sum, which was 863. Okay? Let's practice one more time, and then we'll watch our visual learning video where it's going to talk with you through it just like I am, but sometimes third time's a charm, right? So this time we're going to work with 714 plus 135, okay? So let's go ahead and draw our place value chart. I'm going to work through this one a little bit faster, okay? I don't want to keep you long. All right, so we have 714, 135. I have it in my place value chart. Now, let's find our partial sums. 700 plus 100 gives us 800, so I'm going to draw my H to represent my hundreds. My hundreds equals 800. That's a partial sum of our final sum. Now let's find the total value of my tens place. 3 plus 1, 4, but it's in the tens place. So 4 tens is actually what? 40. Very good. 40 is a partial sum of our final sum. Now, finally, let's look at our ones place. 4 plus 5, easy peasy. We know if it was 5 plus 5, that'd give us a friendly 10, but it's 1 less. So 1 less than 10 is 9. So our ones place totals up to be 9. And it is also a partial sum. All right, so now that we found all 3 of our partial sums, let's add those partial sums together to find our total sum. All right, 0 plus 0 plus 9. 9, very good. 0 plus 4, that gives us 40, right? 40 in the tens place. That's the value of the 4. All right, and then 8 plus nothing plus nothing. 800. So our final sum is 849. 800 was a partial sum, 40 was a partial sum, 9 was a partial sum, to give us our final sum, right? Okay, I think you guys got it. Hopefully that helped you. I'm going to go ahead and start your visual learning video.
Find 257 plus 384. You can draw blocks to show the add-ends. 257 is 2 hundreds, 5 tens, and 7 ones. 384 is 3 hundreds, 8 tens, and 4 ones. You can record the partial sums in a table. What are partial sums?
Go ahead and think about it. We talked about it at the beginning of the video. What is partial sums?
Partial sums are the sum of the hundreds, the sum of the tens, and the sum of the ones. You can find them by adding hundreds to hundreds, tens to tens, and ones to ones. 200 plus 300 equals 500. 50 plus 80 equals 130. What is the sum of the one? Select your answer.
Oh, it already did it for us. Well.
7 plus 4 equals 11. The partial sums are 500, 130, and 11. Next, add the partial sums to find the sum. 500 plus 130 plus 11 equals 641. So 257 plus 384 equals 641. Adding the partial sums helps you find the sum. Both add-ins are made up of hundreds, tens, and ones. So when you add the sum of the hundreds, tens, and ones, you find the sum of all the parts in the add-ins.
Using partial sums makes adding big numbers easier.
You can write out the addition like this. The digits are lined up by place value. It makes it easy to keep track of the place value of the digits and the partial sums.
All right. Turn you around so you can see me. Okay. All right. So now that we've worked through two different problems, I showed you how I organize it. They showed you using a table. You don't have to draw the table if you don't want to. You can just line your place value up just like I did. Whatever you want to do that helps you understand partial sums.